that's a good point. I mean, I partly see it. Yeah, I mean, I do. I think that I think everybody has an inner voice, and so I think it's just for her, it for that to manifest itself, and for me to want to write it in fiction and kind of write it in a cute way. I made them, fireflies, and there's definitely an evolution in that too as the series goes on. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, she really feels like she needs those inner voices because she doesn't, she's got a complicated relationship with her mom. Her mom is a perfectionist, or she thinks that's how she sees her mom. Yes, is as a perfectionist. She's the only daughter. She feels like she's trying to prove herself. She feels like she's messed up enough times. She's gone through a messy divorce. I mean, that's never pretty, and so she always feels like she's got a lot to live up to as the only daughter in the family, and her mother is very poised and polished. I mean, she really is. She's got her stuff together, and so Frankie feels like I didn't take after this woman at all. Like who do I take after? And now I'm trying to live this life and figure and kind of navigate my way through it with the added struggle of being a parent to adult children, because if you have children, you know that relationship changes as they become adults, and you become like, okay, I'm mom, I'm a friend, I'm somebody who's going to give advice only when asked. I don't, just trying to
grandparent.
Yes.
Or whatever.
Right.
And then your aunt comes in and makes her draw on the chalk.
Yeah, see, which was one of the things that I love that in book 2, because not only does Aunt Cece, who shows up and is this free spirit, totally polar opposite of Frankie's mother Peggy, and then she kind of leads her astray. So it's kind of funny.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. I liked that.
Before you got the first book published, was that a difficult process? Because you were an unknown writer, and I've heard that it's very difficult to get a publisher. So what was that process like?
Yeah, that's a great question. I decided that my book was very Hallmarky in nature, and so I sent it to Hallmark Publishing, and I had no idea that there was a very precise, proper format that you're supposed to follow if you're going to do what they call a query letter and send your manuscript. I didn't know any of these things. So I did my best English teacher letter. and they were very nice. They said, we don't want this, but good luck. I mean, at least they let me know. No, I mean, it was nice that they let me know. Yes, because there are people, there are a lot of publishers who never respond. I mean, you can just assume what I was told is if you haven't heard within 6 to 12 months, it's a very long time to wait and wonder. Then you can assume that, they threw it in the trash can, and it's just the way the publishing industry operates now. And so, lucky for me, I knew a few authors, not like they weren't close friends, but I was acquainted with them enough to ask questions. And I said, what did you do? How did you do this? And so, they were kind-hearted about, you need to write a query letter. It has to have this in it. You need to include a synopsis. Don't send your manuscript unless they write back and ask for it. Actually, you should go find an agent first, because most publishers won't even talk to you. So I learned those things, and the authors that I knew said it took them 5 to 7 years to find an agent and secure an agent. And I also had a big writing digest. Writer's Digest puts out all the publishers in the world are in there, but it'll tell you publisher to publisher who will talk to you without an agent, and it was very, very minimal. So I thought, okay, what do I want to do now? I didn't feel like I had 5 to 7 years in me that I wanted to, patience, I'm not patient, to look for an agent, especially not knowing, just feeling like I was way out of my element. And I found a Wisconsin publisher in the Milwaukee area, and they were open to accepting manuscripts. So I just sent them the manuscript, and 3 weeks later, she called me and said she wanted to publish it. So I think it was just good luck. I was a Wisconsin, being a Wisconsin author and writing a Wisconsin book certainly was helpful. And that was just, I just feel like I was lucky. And then after that, I thought, well, I'm not going to try to be HarperCollins, Simon & Schuster, I'm just not gonna try to do that. But some authors really want that. They want to have an agent, they want to have a traditional publisher, they want to, but then they find out that they're working just as hard as an independent author is working, because those big publishers don't do marketing anymore. They'll market for Stephen King, they'll market for Janet Ivanovich, Louise Penny. Some people will, those are the big stars, but of all the big stars out there, there's a bunch of stardust underneath them. That's the rest of us. So you're on your own, and you have to learn how to market, and that's what I did. I spent a lot of time learning the marketing side. And thank goodness we have independent bookstores, because if we didn't have bookstores like Diane's, it's not, you can't walk in and go, I have books, to Barnes and Noble. You just, I have books, that's not how it works with them either. So it's really great to have a relationship with independent authors who think about, first of all, they support local authors or regional state authors, very, very good about that, and very open to saying, yeah, let's try it. Let's try an event, or sure, let me try to sell your book. I'll take, I'll take a chance. And we're lucky, because otherwise, like I said, it's a very tough business to break into.
Did you ever think of self-publishing? I know a lot of authors that are starting out have done that.
We actually switched over and to self-publishing.
Oh.
We did. We did with book number 4, and my other publisher would have stuck with me just fine, but she knew I wanted to have more control over my books, and she also said, you already know, she said, you know more about marketing than I do. And that's, it was a nice compliment, but it's also because she's focused on publishing, she's not focused on marketing. And I used to talk to our other authors in that publishing company about how to market, only because I learned so much. But so then she just said, she goes, yeah, you could do this, and you would have the control that you want for marketing purposes, and it would be probably to your benefit. So we did, but be that as it may, I have a professional editor, I have a professional cover designer, I have a professional interior designer. So even though we just kind of put our publishing company name on it, but we still hire out all those people to get the book done.
Which is, if I can interrupt, which is very smart, because you can't even imagine how many people come in and say, will you sell my book? And a lot of them are self-published. And one of them in particular that I'm thinking of, I said to the woman, it looks self-published. She said, well, it is. And I said, but it doesn't have to look that way.
Yeah.
It looked like a typed manuscript that they just like popped into a book.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm like, no headings for the chapters.
Right.
And I'm like, I said, I can't sell that.
Right.
So yours look beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. We spend a lot of time in production, and I've hired good people. I found a really good interior and cover designer. I have my tech guru over here that is responsible for uploading ebooks and things like that. So yeah, absolutely. But it is important. I think a lot of authors, I don't think a lot of self-published authors understand that, because because they're like me. What did I start with? I started out with a Word document. So I understand, and they also probably, you have to be willing to invest in yourself. It's not cheap to start. I mean, you have to, I mean, it's just like anything else that you're starting off, and it's a business. You have to put money into it and show and believe in yourself and believe that you can do it and try to be professional as opposed to just saying like, well, you know, I don't want to spend the money, because I've talked to a lot of new authors and that's what they've said, and I understand where they're coming from. It's scary and it's quite a venture to undertake, and that's why I think a lot of them, there are plenty of places that you can go and you can just, you know, you can just be like, here's my Word document and I'll turn that into a book. I mean, it can be done in a snap, and I think that there are people, as you know, who've
Right.
done it that way.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. But you kind of want to ask yourself, like, have you ever read a book? Because there are the margin.
Oh,
margin. There's a pretty
exactly,
standard margin
exactly,
space. There's a pretty
exactly.
standard, header space, and
Mm-hmm.
you would just think somebody would just at the very least, do that. But like I said, it looked like they just like plopped a Word document into a
And
book.
have you had people that didn't even get an ISBN?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
See,
I've
I
had to,
know.
yeah.
Yep. And they may not even know how to get an ISBN.
Right, sure,
And yeah. I mean, all of those, there's writing the book, and then there's everything else, and everything else is way more work than writing the book. I would love to just hide myself, as most writers would, in a little, cave, or maybe a little, or a little cozy cottage on a lake.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So I could envision that with my little writing desk and my coffee mug, and just woo, I'm just here writing. Isn't this a great life? But
It's like owning a bookstore. It's like, I mean, literally everybody's like, oh, it'd be great to own a bookstore. You spend all your days reading.
Oh,
No.
when do you have time to read?
Exactly.
Do you ever? Oh, exactly. No,
Yeah,
I know, and that's why, and of course people ask me too all the time, like, so what are you reading? And a lot of times I'm reading my book for the 20th time. But I do read a lot too, and it's nice. An author community is a really nice community. The more you get into it, the more you find people who are like-minded and who are helpful and generous, and so we do a lot of book swaps where we will read each other's and give feedback and help before the publishing process. Yeah, it's wonderful. It really is. I didn't know. I thought it was going to be very cutthroat and competitive, and it isn't. It's not that world.
Yeah.
No. Oh, please stand up. I understand. I understand. Or go get some treats, or if you've already bought books, please let me sign those. And anytime anyone buys a book, they get a wine chart.